In our news tonight, Pope Francis on a unity and brotherhood trip to Egypt to improve Christian-Muslim ties urges Egypt to stay true to its slogan that religion is for God and the nation is for everyone. China and Russia caution Washington against threatening military force to solve the problem with North Korea over its nuclear program, saying dialogue is the only way out. And world-renowned British physicist Stephen Hawking shares his hopes and fears about the rise of artificial intelligence at the opening of Global Mobile Internet Conference. Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. Pope Francis met with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on arrival in Cairo at the beginning of a two-day visit aimed at improving Christian-Muslim ties. He urged el-Sisi to prove that Egypt stayed true to its all-time slogan that religion is for God and the nation is for everyone. The Pope made sure to use the Arabic words "الدين لله والوطن للجميع." In Egypt, less than 3 weeks after deadly bombing attacks on 2 Coptic churches that left 45 dead, Pope Francis urged Muslim leaders to unite in renouncing religious extremism. Let us say once more a firm and clear no to every form of violence, vengeance, and hatred carried out in the name of religion or in the name of God, the Pope told a conference on peace and religious dialogue at Al-Azhar. In his speech, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed al-Tayyib, said Islam is not a religion of terrorism, but the terrorists have carelessly and ignorantly misinterpreted religious texts. Pope Francis, who described his trip as one of unity and brotherhood, was to meet Sheikh Tayyib and Pope Tawadros II, head of the Coptic Orthodox Church, who narrowly escaped one of the church bombings. 2 other speeches were on his schedule, one for today and another tomorrow, when he will celebrate an open-air mass at a military arena. On arrival at Cairo airport, the Pope was greeted by Egyptian Prime Minister Sharif Ismail. As Palestinians held a day of rage across the occupied Palestinian territories in solidarity with prisoners in Israeli jails, clashes erupted between protesters and Israeli forces. There are currently more than 1,500 prisoners in Israeli jails who began their hunger strike on April 16th. Their open-ended strike is a protest against poor conditions and an Israeli policy of detention without trial that has been applied against thousands since the 1980s. In Israel, meanwhile, there was a new announcement of more settlements. Israel's housing ministry announced its intention to build 15,000 new settlement homes in East Jerusalem in defiance of international opinion. The announcement also defies U.S. President Donald Trump's request to hold back on settlements as part of a possible new push for Israeli-Palestinian peace. To Syria, where U.S.-backed forces fighting Daesh took several neighborhoods from the terrorist group in the town of Tabqa. The offensive is part of a campaign to oust Daesh from its stronghold in Raqqa city, which was launched in November but has slowed in recent weeks. The Syrian Democratic Forces SDF said it pushed up into the town and has taken the southern neighborhoods of Nababila and Zahra after taking Wahab neighborhood to their south yesterday. In recent weeks, the SDF has also squeezed the terrorists' pocket of territory around Raqqa, which Daesh has used as a base to plot attacks. Staying with Syria, and Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said Turkey's southern border region with Syria had come under serious mortar fire from Kurdish militia over the last 2 days, and Turkish forces were retaliating as necessary. Erdogan also told a conference in Istanbul that Turkey will not allow establishment of an independent state in northern Syria. Ankara sees the People's Protection Unit's YPG as a hostile force and an extension of the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party PKK, which has waged a 3-decade insurgency against the Turkish state. Erdogan reiterated YPG should move out of Manbij to the eastern side of the Euphrates River. In Syria, a commander of the YPG militia said the U.S. forces would begin monitoring the situation along the Syria-Turkey frontier after the cross-border fire this week. The monitoring has not yet begun, but the forces would report to senior U.S. commanders, according to the commander. And the EU accession process continues, said EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini at the end of a meeting of EU foreign ministers in Malta. The ministers met with Turkey's top diplomat to try to defuse a crisis in relations with Turkey that has pushed the bloc towards a formal halt to Ankara's long-stalled talks to join. But at the end of the talks, France and Germany sought a new deal with Turkey to repair relations with President Tayyip Erdogan. The German foreign minister said he was strictly against annulling Turkey's bid for EU membership, and France's foreign minister said nobody wants to break up with Turkey. The foreign ministers of Lithuania, Slovakia and Hungary were in agreement urging the EU to maintain dialogue with Ankara, while the Austrian foreign minister said membership negotiations make no sense, and his Luxembourg counterpart described the accession process as dead. Mogherini made this statement at the end of the talks.
The accession process continues. It is not suspended nor ended, but as you might know, we are currently not working on opening any new negotiation chapter. If Turkey, as I said, is interested in accession negotiations, it knows very well what it implies, especially in the field of human rights, rule of law, democracy, fundamental freedoms, including media freedom, obviously the death penalty, and respect of international law and the principle of good neighbourly relations.
Moving to Iraq, where forces continued their push from the south of Mosul's old city towards the Daesh-controlled north. The push is part of the Iraqi army's siege and tactics to drive the terrorists out of the historic neighborhood while minimizing casualties among civilians. The Iraqi army have surrounded the terrorists in the northwestern quarter, including the old city, home to the Grand Al-Nouri Mosque. Daesh are countering the offensive using booby traps, suicide motorcycle attacks, sniper and mortar fire, and occasionally shells filled with toxic gas. The Iraqi military gained additional ground on Tuesday, dislodging members of the group from Hay el-Tank, one of Mosul's largest districts by area on the western edge of the city. A raid by armed British counter-terrorism police on a London home using CS gas yesterday evening resulted in the shooting of a woman and the arrest of 6 others. Officers stormed a house which had been under surveillance after gathering crucial intelligence to prevent a terrorist attack. This report has the details.
Overnight anti-terror raids taking place in the UK. Police swooping on addresses in London and Kent, arresting 6 on suspicion of terror offences. Gunshots ringing out after armed police surrounded a home in Willesden, northwest London. One woman in her 20s was shot during the raid. She's now in a serious but stable condition under police guard in hospital. At a security briefing Friday, police said they had stopped an active plot.
Due to these arrests that have been made yesterday, in both cases I believe we have contained the threats that they posed. With the attack in Westminster on the 22nd of March so fresh in people's mind, I would like to reassure everyone that across the country officers are working round the clock to identify those people who intend to commit acts of terror.
The raids come after a man was arrested in Westminster on Thursday armed with several knives. The 27-year-old was detained by counter-terrorism police near the British Prime Minister's office, just metres from the scene of last month's deadly attack on Westminster Bridge. Police sources say the man arrested on Thursday was being monitored as part of an intelligence-led operation, and that he was known to authorities. So far, police have made no connection between events in Westminster and the anti-terror raids.
U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson scolded the UN Security Council for not fully enforcing sanctions against North Korea, saying if the Council had acted, tensions over the North's nuclear program might not have escalated. The 15-member council were meeting at the United Nations over the escalating tensions on the Korean Peninsula. He said failure to curb North Korea's nuclear and missile abilities could lead to catastrophic consequences and called on member states to sever diplomatic and financial ties with Pyongyang. Russia and China, however, cautioned Washington against threatening military force to solve the problem. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said military threats would not help and said negotiations and dialogue are the only way out. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Gennady Gatilov also said the use of force would be completely unacceptable. In his own words, he said, "The combative rhetoric and reckless muscle flexing have led to a situation where the whole world is wondering whether there's going to be war or not." And in the Philippines, there were more calls for de-escalation of tension on the North Korean peninsula. ASEAN foreign ministers meeting in Manila for the 30th ASEAN Summit released a written statement calling for the resumption of dialogue with North Korea, expressing grave concern and urging Pyongyang to abide by UN sanctions and international law in order to maintain regional stability. They also called on the relevant parties to exercise restraint in order to de-escalate tensions. World-renowned British physicist Stephen Hawking shared his hopes and fears about the rise of artificial intelligence, or AI, at the opening ceremony of Global Mobile Internet Conference Beijing 2017. Making a video appearance at the innovative technology event, Hawking said it still remains to be seen if AI is a force for good or evil. The physicist expressed his concerns about the fast-evolving technology, raising questions about how autonomy should be defined for autonomous vehicles and drones, and how culpability should be determined in the event of misuse or malfunction. He also talked about the issue of privacy, which may be undermined now that AI has become increasingly able to interpret surveillance data.
I believe that the potential benefits of creating intelligence are huge. Perhaps with the tools of this new technological revolution, we will be able to undo some of the damage done to the natural world by industrialization. We too have a role to play in making sure the next generation has not just the opportunity, but the determination to engage fully with the study of science at an early level, so that they can go on to fulfill their potential and create a better world for the whole human race.
The Danish embassy in China did not expect an oyster post they made on Chinese social media, Sina Weibo account, would be such a viral success. The embassy had posted an article last Monday complaining about the non-native Pacific oysters invading the beaches of Denmark. With a population of less than 6 million, Denmark cannot solve the problem through eating the oysters up, so the Danish embassy jokingly invited the public to help solve the problem. But it did not expect a heated discussion to follow, with some also jokingly suggesting the Danes organize oyster trips to Denmark. The most liked comment suggested that Denmark should relax its visa restrictions and create a 10-year multi-entry oyster-eating visa, where each stay can be extended by up to 1 month. And in 5 years, the oyster crisis will be solved. The enthusiasm of netizens on this topic have prompted users to repost the article over 10,000 times on Weibo. The government, meanwhile, is seriously looking at ways to deal with the invasion.
Ministry of Environment and Agriculture are coming up with ideas for how to combat this invasive species. But there's so far not been found any solution on the short term to actually deal with this issue. Hopefully there has been some talks about increased fishery of the oysters and increased, hopefully, export of these oysters.
In fashion, designs inspired by indigenous cosmovision, natural materials and space-age shine hit the catwalk at Bogota Fashion Week, displaying the best of national and international lines. A mixture of 60s swirls, oriental designs and a consistent metallic sheen followed in the Custo Barcelona collection entitled Light Years, which the designer said would transmit an unclassifiable message to its audience. The three-day event was supported by the Bogota Chamber of Commerce and included a range of activities from showrooms, performances, and business seminars. Get ready for some energy-boosting fitness in our Friday special segment. Tonight's star is no other than Zumba, the fitness program created in the mid-90s by mistake, combining Latin and international music with dance moves. Having forgotten to bring in his aerobics class music tape, Colombian choreographer and fitness instructor Alberto Beto Perez had to improvise using his salsa and merengue music instead. This class was a perfect mix of dance and aerobics that kept his students moving and having fun. The rest is history. More in this report. Super fun, highly energetic and contagious. Swaying your body to the beats of salsa, flamenco and merengue music among others, Zumba feels more like a social party than a workout. But let this exciting atmosphere not fool you. Zumba is the biggest dance fitness program in the world with a highly effective workout. Zumba provides a full-body aerobic workout with a large calorie burn in its typically 60-minute classes. More than cardio kickboxing, step aerobics, hooping, and power yoga. The fitness, which improves coordination, is also good for core strengthening and flexibility gains, especially as there are many hip and midsection movements.
It burns a lot of calories because it could burn between 500 up to 1,000 calories. It depends, of course, on the age and the metabolisms and the movement of the person. And it's a great workout. Why? Because no one is feeling what's happening. They are working out, they're having fun because they're dancing, but there is fitness movement there because you could see squatting, you could see lunges as well between dancing steps. So that's why they will not feel that they are also the difference of rhythms. Now we're going to dance salsa, now we're going to I take them to different kind of countries, so they will not feel what they're doing, that therefore they are burning a lot of calories without feeling it.
There are several different kinds of Zumba classes, from aqua Zumba workouts to classes like Zumba toning, that incorporate weights for additional calorie burning and strength training. In Jordan, classes offered include Zumba, Strong by Zumba, Zumba Kids, Aqua Zumba, and Zumba Gold. According to Huda, when she first brought Zumba to Jordan in 2009, people were not very receptive and promoting it was difficult. However, it picked up in 2011 with the first Zumba instructor training.
I host the Zumba trainings also for Zumba instructors. Then Zumba hired me, the marketing agent for Zumba in Jordan. And right now I host all the Zumba trainings in Jordan for the instructors. And I think there's in Jordan, not just in Jordan actually, they will come from all over the region. So maybe there's over like 300 instructors right now in Jordan. And not to mention the students actually as well.
According to its practitioners, some of its major perks include mood boosting and increased confidence.
According to me, is a lifestyle. We get happiness, we burn fat, we enjoy, we cannot feel tired, never ever.
I actually addicted to the music of Zumba, to the reggaeton, and actually when I left the gym, I started dancing in my car. And I recommended Zumba for everyone.
It's give me the energy and passion and everything. It gave me the confidence and everything that gave me the power. It's really amazing.
Music is described as the food and soul of life. Based on energetic music, Zumba offers one the chance to not only move to different countries' rich beats, but also make one feel like they are partying. This not only enriches one's workout experience, but makes it an automatic hit. Are you ready to take your workout experience to a whole new level? Then move and allow the life energy to move through you. To your continuous, joyful and healthy life, this is Dana Abu Sham for the News at 10. As exciting as it is, Zumba can be quite rigorous, but can be modified according to one's fitness level. If you have any injury or pain, make sure to notify your trainer and take it slowly and gradually, and go high or low according to your capability. In cycling, Italian Elia Viviani won the third stage of the Tour de Romandie at the end of a 180-kilometer ride around Payerne. The Team Sky rider outsprinted compatriot Sonny Colbrelli and German Michael Schwarzmann. Italian Fabio Felline retained the overall lead. .670 off Vettel's pace, while teammate Hamilton was fourth. Vettel leads Hamilton by 7 points after winning 2 of 3 races this season. The Briton won in China. And finally, to the weather forecast. Moderate spring conditions continue for tonight and tomorrow across most regions, with a high of 26 degrees Celsius in the capital tomorrow and northwesterly moderate winds. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect a hot day tomorrow with northerly moderate winds and calm seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. A reminder of our top stories before we end the news. Pope Francis, on a unity and brotherhood trip to Egypt to improve Christian-Muslim ties, urges Egypt to stay true to its slogan that religion is for God and the nation is for everyone. China and Russia caution Washington against threatening military force to solve the problem with North Korea over its nuclear program, saying dialogue is the only way out. And world-renowned British physicist Stephen Hawking shares his hopes and fears about the rise of artificial intelligence at the opening of Global Mobile Internet Conference. With this, we reach the end of tonight's news. I'm Dana Abusham. Thank you for watching and have a good night.